Hello and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, hi, my name's Zoe. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. I really do hope that you decide to subscribe and also turn on your bell so you're notified every single time that I post. And if you're a current subscriber, please make sure that your bell is on, as YouTube doesn't like suggesting true crime content. Now, before jumping into today's video, I do have to just say, if you are sensitive to subjects around children and around torture, then please do not watch this video. This video is really hard to listen to. It was really difficult for me to read some of the information on this case. I've had to leave a lot of graphic information out. So if torture and killing and children all combined into one really affects you, then please just skip this video. I won't be concerned, I won't be bothered by it. Obviously your well-being means a lot to me as well, and if it's going to really bother you, then please watch a different video. Today we are talking about the murder of Kristy Bamu. Kristy Bamu was a 15-year-old teenage boy who lived with his parents in Paris, France. His sister, 29-year-old Marieroseee, lived with her boyfriend, 28-year-old Eric Bakube, in Newham, London. Kristy was your average teenage boy. He loved to play football, he loved to go out with his friends, and he loved to spend quality time with his family. In 2010, Kristy's parents thought it was about time that Kristy and his two brothers and two sisters spent some time with their sister in the UK. After talking to Marieroseee about this, they agreed that the siblings would stay with her over Christmas in 2010. This was a good thing for Kristy. Eric was a football coach. It was his two favourite things mixed together, football and family. And it was also great that he would be able to go to London and see the sights at just 15 years old. And that would be amazing for him. On the 16th of December 2010, Kristy and his siblings flew over to the UK to stay with Marieroseee in Newham. Everything seemed pretty normal. They seemed to be having a good time. But that would be short-lived. On the 25th of December 2010, paramedics were called to Marierosee's home. They found 15-year-old Kristy dead in the bathtub. Paramedics knew that Kristy had been dead for some length of time. He had over 130 wounds to his body, and the flat itself was covered in blood. When police arrived, they started their investigations and secured the scene. They were trying to establish exactly what had happened, so they interviewed Kristy's siblings. They collected a load of DNA evidence, and things started to fall into place. In the days leading to Christmas, Kristy had an accident during the night, and as any other boy would, he was extremely embarrassed, and instead of telling his older sister, he decided just to hide his underwear in the kitchen. The next day, Eric came across the underwear and he instantly accused Kristy of trying to pollute their food and accused him of using a witchcraft known as Kindoki. Kindoki is believed to be a form of witchcraft or a possession by an evil spirit. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, many people believe that adults and children are affected by Kindoki. This causes children to be abandoned or worse, killed. They believe the only way of stopping Kindoki is to perform a ritual. Kindoki has become a concerning belief over here in England as well. Even though you may not hear of it, there are many cases of children being hurt or even worse, killed by these rituals. These rituals are also known as exorcisms. When conducting these exorcisms or rituals, they beat, starve and drown children. In the last 10 years, Scotland Yard has dealt with over 83 cases involving children that have been linked to Kindoki. Once Eric accused Kristy of using this sort of witchcraft, he then assumed the other siblings were using it too. Eric starved the siblings for 3 days and told them that this would not stop until they admitted their crimes. I cannot imagine being forced not to eat and being forcefully starved. That must have been absolute hell for those children. But little did they know this was only the beginning. Whilst being starved, Eric would physically beat them. Eventually, Kristy's siblings admitted to using the witchcraft because they wanted Eric to stop. And he did. But he didn't stop with Kristy because Kristy refused to admit. Kristy did nothing wrong and he could not understand why he was getting this punishment, and he didn't understand why he had to admit to something that he hadn't done. Now this is where it's going to get a little bit more graphic. The beatings got worse for Kristy. He was hit in the face with a hammer by Eric. He lost his teeth and he was physically knocked out, but he would not confess. Eric used floor tiles and bottles to use as a weapon to hit over Kristy's head. He even used pliers to try and pull Kristy's ears off. Eric forced Kristy's siblings to join in. They didn't know what to do, so they felt like they had no choice but to hurt their own brother. They later recalled that they looked over to Marieroseee for some sort of help and support, but she just laughed and egged Eric on. She didn't care. She even joined in on the beatings herself. At one point, Eric even asked the younger siblings to jump from the balcony to see if they could fly. At the end of the ordeal, after 4 days of suffering, Eric put all the children into the bathtub. He used the cold overhead shower to try and rinse the children clean of any evil spirits. Kristy had stopped moving, so Eric knew that something was wrong. Eric had pulled Kristy from the bath, but he was dead, and he had died from a combination of his injuries and drowning. Like I said earlier, he had sustained over 130 injuries. The pain he endured must have been absolutely terrifying. Paramedics tried very hard to save Kristy's life, but it was just too late. During the 4-day ordeal, many calls were placed to the children's parents, but they had no clue what was happening at all. They thought everything was fine, and this was because their children were forced to be okay on the phone. Kristy was in so much pain during his torture that he actually begged his sister to kill him. He just wanted to die and he wanted everything to stop. I can't begin to imagine how terrifying that was, not only for Kristy but for his siblings as well. They were forced to watch their brother be tortured and killed, and they were even forced to take part. Eric Bickerby was sentenced to 30 years in jail. He tried to say that he wasn't responsible for this murder due to a brain injury that he had, but this was overruled. Eleanor Bamu was sentenced to 25 years in jail. She had tried to say that Eric had forced her to do this, but given all the evidence and the siblings' accounts of that night, the judge just knew that that wasn't the case. One of Kristy's siblings spoke at the trial and said, "It was like they were obsessed with witchcraft. They decided we had come there to kill them. Kristy asked for forgiveness. He asked again and again. Marieroseee did absolutely nothing. She did not give a damn. She said we deserved it." Their father also later released a statement and he said, "I feel betrayed. To know that Kristy's own sister Marieroseee did nothing to save him makes that pain much worse. It is so hard to believe that this sort of abuse still happens to this day." Kristy did not deserve to die, and his siblings did not deserve the ordeal that they faced. I'm hoping that this video brings some sort of insight to this topic, as myself, I did not know about any of this until I came across this case. If you are worried about a child, teenager or adult who may be in danger, please contact the organisations in my description box below. If you feel like you can't talk to these organisations, please speak to somebody that you trust. The organisations that are linked in the description box are trustworthy, are legit and can help save another child's life. This is child abuse and it needs to stop. So that is all for this case. I am so sorry that I finished off on a more serious topic, but I think it is not talked about enough. It isn't talked about enough in the true crime community. I think we are scared to talk about subjects like this because it is very sensitive, but this sort of topic needs to be talked about. It's child abuse. It isn't right. It should not be happening in this day and age. If you see anything, please tell somebody, because you can save a child's life, you can save an adult's life. You can really do good by just opening up to somebody else about something you know. So if you did enjoy this video, please make sure you give it a massive thumbs up. So I will see you in 2020 for another true crime video. Bye.